introduce all the culture, Kamina, right, housing, everything. Yeah, then to us, but it's very new to us. So, and we also get contact with them by dancing with them. So it's quite interesting.
Oh, bukan nih. Ini aja saya cek di email.
When you ask about Universitas Airlangga or think about applying, we will give you an insight about us in numbers.
You can come to Surabaya, the second biggest city in Indonesia. Just an hour's flight from Jakarta, and find us selecting over 9,000 students each year.
And it's easy to go anywhere from here. Only 40 minutes to international airport, 30 minutes to bus station, and 5 minutes to railway station.
We select each individual carefully for our 14 faculties to learn with more than 38,000 other students from around the world each year.
You'll be learning in 3 different campuses, connected by 3 shuttle buses, going every 30 minutes every day. No big deal.
There are 165 different programs consisting 39 bachelors, 45 masters, 13 doctorate, 3 4 years vocationals, and 17 3 years vocationals.
41 specialists and 7 professional educations. Then there are 5 international class and dual degree programs, and also 12 multidisciplinary programs in our postgraduate school.
Want to know our international class and dual degree program? Here we have medicine, dental medicine, veterinary medicine, pharmacist education, and psychology.
But worry not, there won't be any difficulties. For 2,600 of our staff are ready to assist you at any turn of your study.
And almost 2,000 lecturers to answer your scientific questions, and 224 professors for more difficult ones. Or your answers could be anywhere among 118,000 collections in our library.
And if you wonder, are we always mysterious?
No, we have 39 student clubs, with 10 different sports, 8 martial arts, 5 religious clubs, 7 creative and traditional arts, and 7 more others.
Above all, since 1954, we are proud of our students. In 2017 alone, 444 of them are getting achievements in national and international level. Collaborating with 149 universities across the globe, we are ready, marching with the rest of the world, cultivating the brightest future of all.
name is Marius. I'm 25 years old and from Germany. I'm studying in the Netherlands because it's close to the border of Germany at the Fontys International Business School, and my major program is international marketing. I've chosen the Universitas Airlangga in Surabaya because I think that Indonesia is a really beautiful country. The people are so kind and are always smiling, and I've chosen the Airlangga University because I can combine 14 different faculties and choose the courses that I want to study. It's a huge pleasure for me to be part of the Amerta program. I'm studying with lots of different students from all around the globe, and I can learn about their cultures and about their personal experience. My best experience from the program was a free cultural trip to Yogyakarta. We went there by bus with nearly 80 students and staff from the AGE office, and we visited lots of temples and a water palace that was really huge and was so interesting, and we have learned a lot about the culture and we had lots of fun together. The process of applying for visa here in Indonesia is really hard to do it on your own, but the support of the AGE is really huge in this kind of matter. They are helping you, for example, to go together to the immigration office and to help to extend the visa.
I am from Management and Science University, and I'm majoring in Bachelor in Forensic Science. I'm from Malaysia. So basically why I choose Surabaya, UNER as my destination of studies because I think it is close to my home, Malaysia. And then I can just go back anytime I want, and yeah, that's good, right? Then I think because of our language is almost similar, so I will be comfortable to talk to the local people because I think I can speak Indonesian language fluently. I think Amerta program is perfect because firstly, I love when they provide us a very good meals in every event, like the opening ceremony and for the cultural trip. We are always provided with the good meals, that's why I like it. And now I would like to share my most memorable experience here in UNER is when they brought us to the cultural trip to Yogyakarta. I've never been to Yogyakarta in my life, so it was my first experience in which I like it. I'm very happy. I was excited for it. In Yogyakarta, what I like the most is when they brought us to visit Prambanan, Candi, and yeah, I will never forget massive support given by Amerta or the AGE team during my very first class here. I mean, like at first we were kind of messed up because we were not given the schedule right on time, but luckily Miss Wilda is here to help us to coordinate our timetable perfectly. Like if we are having miscommunication with the lecturer, Miss Wilda will try to help us to like communicate or get engaged to the lecturer better. That's it.
Celeste and I'm from the Netherlands. I study at the Rotterdam University of Applied Sciences and my major is International Business and Management Studies. So I choose Surabaya because my relatives live here, so it's very easy to go here. I don't need to search for housing. Also, it's a very central point to travel anywhere. And I choose UNAIR University because it's a very good university, one of the best of Indonesia.
Hello everyone. The honorable speakers, Dr. Kawahara Genta, Executive Vice President of Global Engagement, Osaka University, Japan, Professor Alexander Newman, Associate Dean, International Faculty of Business and Law of Deakin University, Australia. And also we have in here Professor Badri Munir Sukocho, Head of Planning and Development Board, Universitas Airlangga. And also thank you for joining with us, the Head of Airlangga Global Engagement, Universitas Airlangga, Dian Ekowati, PhD, moderators, participants, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, may peace be upon us. First of all, allow me to extend my gratitude and my warmest welcome to you all to the third Airlangga Global Talk, Managing Global Partnership in the Era COVID-19, Translating Strategic into Actions, presented by Airlangga Global Engagement, Universitas Airlangga. It is a great honor for me, Mustafir Yusuf, being here and welcoming everyone. Excellencies, distinguished speakers, moderators, participants, ladies and gentlemen, we are very much honored to invite Dian Ekowati, PhD, the head of Airlangga Global Engagement, Universitas Airlangga, to deliver a welcome remarks. To Ibu Dian, the time is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Viro. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, all distinguished speakers, Professor Alexander Newman of Deakin University, Dr. Kawahara Genta of Osaka University, and also Professor Badri Munir Sukocho of Airlangga University, the moderator, Dr. Dina Septiani, also from Airlangga Global Engagements, all participants. Welcome to Universitas Airlangga and the third Airlangga Global Talk series with Airlangga Global Engagements. This time, the topic is about managing global partnerships in the era of COVID-19. Especially, the subtitle will be Translating Strategies into Actions. Today's seminars will present three distinguished speakers that have not only deal with strategic level decision makings, but also those translate strategics into actions. And that's, I think, one of the most important points in understanding how the university in this challenging time can, deal with day-to-day challenge that we, I think, in the world experience that. We do hope that these sessions could enlighten all of us in understanding the dynamics of how the university to deal with the partners, doing all the academic things and the research things, but also more importantly in sustaining the collaborations amongst universities. I do understand that while at the same time we might need to be able to sustain these kind like partnerships, we are pushed to think out of the box to find out ways in dealing how we can sustain these partnerships apart from all the limitations that we face during these times. Students' mobility, all the international collaborations, kind like joint research and everything seems to come in halt. But the universities need to think out of the box, think innovatively, and still work its ways to come out with solutions. And today we would like to hear that, and we will discuss about this with our distinguished speakers. We do hope that we can take home some valuable points from this webinar series, and I invite all participants to make connections among each other and make future collaborations if possible. for speakers, we do greatly appreciate that you actually willing to spare your busy time with us to pour your ideas into these programs. While this might not be a perfect platform for all of us to collaborate, I know that we can offer some things, not only for our institutions, but all of our participants here in this challenging time. So thank you very much for our global partners, Osaka University and also Deakin University, and also our distinguished speaker from Airlangga, Professor Badri, who is working restlessly, to help the university into this, this now 521 positions in the world. Again, thank you very much, and I wish you all an engaging discussions. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Ibu Dian, for the warm remarks. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to proceed to our main program for today's agenda. It is an international webinar. This session will be led by the moderator, Ms. Dina Septiani, PhD, the Coordinator Division of Global Partnership and Communication, Airlangga Global Engagement. She is also a lecturer staff in Department of Communication in Faculty of Social and Sciences, Universitas Airlangga. So now I have the pleasure to hand over the session to Ibu Dina.
Thank you, Vero. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's sessions. We have here today for the third Airlangga Global Talk, which focuses on how to manage global partnerships in the COVID-19 era. I would like to introduce today's presenter. First, we have Professor Alexander Newman, the Associate Dean from Deakin Business School, Australia. And then the second speaker will be Professor Badri Munir Sukocho. He is our Head of Planning and Development Board from Universitas Airlangga. And we also will have Professor Kawahara Genta, the Executive Vice President of Global Engagement, Osaka University. With the global pandemic, there are many planned agendas and activities that cannot take place as they should. Meanwhile, the relationships between UNER and their international partners must be maintained. Thus, it is deemed necessary to initiate alternative strategies in order to maintain international cooperations. Now, for those of you just joining us, welcome. A little technical setting that I would like to share with you all, that a recorded version of this webinar will be available on YouTube. You will have to search for Airlangga Global Talk to obtain the files of the webinar. And we also would like to hear from you. You can post the questions on the Q&A box, and we will address the questions after all the speakers has presented. Now, I would like to welcome our first speaker, Professor Alexander Newman. Professor Alexander Newman is Associate Dean International for the Faculty of Business and Law at Deakin University. He is a leading management scholar, publishing widely in the areas of organizational behavior, human resource management, entrepreneurship, and leadership. At Deakin University, he has established a successful global work integrated learning program and a network of relationships with universities worldwide. We will listen to his presentations on managing global partnerships in times of COVID-19. Professor Newman, the time is yours.
Great, I'm just going to share my screen, so it might take a couple of seconds. There we go. Is that all clear? Can everybody see that? Is that okay? Great, well, thank you for inviting me here today. It's a pleasure talking to colleagues at Airlangga and colleagues from across the world. As you pointed out, I am Associate Dean International. I'm actually responsible for both the business school and the law school. So we have a faculty of business and law, and I'm responsible for both. So that is really international partnerships, international recruitment of students, and also mobility, getting our students overseas, and also having exchange students into Deakin. So things have been very difficult during this time of crisis. Dina, if you can remind me when I've got 5 minutes left, that would be great, because I tend to talk and talk. So please keep the time and tell me when I've got 5 minutes to go, please. So my role is really threefold. It's international partnerships, that's research, teaching and learning. It's recruitment of students, and it's also sending our students overseas, what we call international mobility. Due to the COVID crisis, we've closed our borders in Australia. In Melbourne at the moment, we're on lockdown. We're not allowed to leave our houses. We're only allowed to leave once a day for shopping or exercise. So it's been a very difficult situation. Universities have been closed in Victoria, the state where I'm in, for the last 5 months. So we've been working from home. We were told that we would have to close the university. Within a week, we had everything online. We are known for our online delivery. So we have a very sophisticated infrastructure, and we delivered all our courses online prior to COVID happening. So it was very quick for us to move all our activity online. But there's been other things that have affected us. We can't have international students coming this year. And as you probably, many of you will know, Australian universities are very reliant on international students for their income. So universities have seen their income drop this year by about 20 or 30%. And that's been really, really negative for universities. We've had to cut our budgets. We've had to reduce, obviously, expenditure to ensure that we live within our means. And there's a lot of worry about what's going to happen next year if borders don't open, because international students account for a significant part of our income. So we've seen a lot of universities in the sector, over half, announce job losses later on in the year. So all these things are playing out because Australian education is so reliant on international students. The other things that have been affected is we can no longer send our students overseas. So I'll be talking later about how we've gone about developing virtual exchange or virtual programs. And that's been quite exciting. So a lot of innovation happening, and I'll talk in a bit more detail about that later. So my role is quite a big role for both the business school and the law school. I also act as chair of the international network at the Australian Business Deans Council. And this is where the business schools get together and talk about issues. We have different networks, a research network, a teaching and learning network, a professional administrators network, and an international network. And I engage in discussion with my colleagues about best practice in terms of building international relationships. And I chair that committee. So it's very interesting to see what other business schools are doing. And a lot of schools are finding it very tough, especially schools that send a lot of their students overseas and accept a lot of international students. So it's not been a great time for the university sector here in Australia, but we are doing our best. We've moved very quickly to online learning. Students are generally engaged. There's been surveys that have been done, and student engagement and student satisfaction has actually been improved during the crisis. And that's probably because students aren't allowed out. So they've been really engaged with their studies. And that's been really good. So we've seen a lot of positives from the crisis as well as negatives. So I'm going to move on and really talk about our approach to developing partnerships. So this is the approach that we've taken for the last 3 years. Again, I've been really focused in the business school because we have accreditations that we've achieved over the last few years. In the business area, we have what we call EQUIS accreditation, that's a European accreditation, and AACSB, which is the American Business Schools accreditation. So we've been really focusing on building international partnerships. It's very highly valued in the accreditation process. And they look at your attitudes towards and your strategy towards building partnerships. So we tend to build partnerships with a very small number of universities in each country. And Airlangga is one of our top partners in Asia. So thanks again for inviting me here today. And we look to work with very strong business schools across the world, typically with accreditation, but in some transition economies, some less developed markets, we work with the top business schools in those countries. So Airlangga is a really great partner for us, especially in the field of accounting. So we look where we have existing relationships with those schools. We look at the kind of research that the partners are doing, and does it align to our research? So we've been very carefully mapped out our key research strengths, our research themes, and found partners with similar strengths. So Airlangga is a good example of the work we're doing in the financial market space. We have a lot of collaboration going on with you in the accounting and finance space. whereas other universities, it's maybe more towards other areas of business, whether it be management, marketing. So we look at each partnership and we develop a focus for each partnership in a specific research strength. And we tend to do multiple things with each partner. So we're focusing on staff and student mobility. With some partners where we're able, we have joint PhDs. So we've developed a number of joint PhD programs with our Chinese partners and our Indian partners. We're looking to do that with more partners. But for some countries, it tends to be quite difficult, depending on the higher education regulatory framework. So we're trying to do a lot of different things, but we've kind of limited our partners to around 20 to 25 globally, depending on existing relationships. So there's a list of some of our partners. As you can see, in Indonesia, we work with Airlangga and IPB University in Bogor. Other countries, we work with a very select number of partners. So this is our kind of thing, smaller, but very strong partnerships with a select number of partners across the globe. Okay, so that's where we are at the moment. We really want to focus again on Asia, because Australia is part of the wider Asia. At least for football, for soccer, we are an Asian country. And for many other things, we consider ourselves to be part of Asia. The Australian government also provides a lot of grants through its New Colombo Plan funding to support engagement with Asia, to support students going to study in Asian countries. So we're very much engaged with the countries very close to us, being Indonesia, Sri Lanka, India, China, Vietnam. Those are some of the key markets, and Bangladesh, Pakistan as well. So we're really focused, and we want to give back. We do a lot around research support, research training. So we deliver quite a lot of those kind of seminars to our partners. We accept students. We send our students on short-term programs to those partners as well. So we try to do a lot of different things with each partner. So rather than have 100 partners across the globe, we'd rather have very strong, smaller but very sophisticated partnerships with our key partners in each country. So there we are, a map of our partners. It's been quite difficult to engage with North America, especially the USA, in recent years. We used to send a lot of students to America on programs, but since the change of government a few years ago, we're no longer able to send our students to the US on tourist visas. If they're studying, they have to be sent on education visas, even for short-term programs. So that's made it difficult, because it's very difficult to get short-term visas to go to the US. So we've shifted our focus to Europe and to Canada in the Northern Hemisphere, whilst maintaining a very strong focus on Asia, because that's where we are, that's where we're based. So what's happened during this COVID period? We've had difficulty hosting international students. So as I said, it's a very large part of any Australian university's income. So what have we done whilst the borders are closed? Initially in March time, a lot of our students were still overseas. They were spending their summer holiday, your winter holiday in their home countries. And many of them returned, but some of them were unable to return. So we still have a lot of students who are, purely online from their home country. So we've had to deliver our programs online. We've given a lot of technical support. There were issues in certain countries, such as China, where a lot of the technology that universities used was inaccessible in China due to the firewall there. So universities had to work around that and find solutions where we hosted our servers in China, and we were able to deliver our content directly to students overseas. So there's been a few challenges, but we got over those pretty quickly, and we've had quite a high satisfaction level of our students who've been beaming in from home overseas. The issue is next about how do we attract new students when they're unable to come to Australia. So we've had a number of programs where students are able to start on Cs, and then they can travel to Australia later when the borders reopen. So now presently we're exploring with a number of partners how we might host some content in country, whether that's in India or China, where we work with a partner. Students go to the partner university, stay there. We deliver the content with some local support from a tutor at the local partner. So we're exploring a couple of those partnerships in India and China at the moment. And how, because we don't know when the borders are going to open, we don't know when this COVID thing is going to finish. So how do we support our students that are unable to get to Australia? I believe it's through very strong partnerships with our existing partners. We don't have too many students coming from Indonesia. I think our main source of students is India and China. So we've been really focused on working closely in India and China to ensure our students are supported fully, and whether that's developing these in-country, what we call learning centres, where students can get local support as well. So that's a huge challenge for us at the moment, and we're working through, depending on what's going to happen next year. Things change very quickly in this COVID crisis. The other thing we've been focusing on is really to support student mobility without leaving the country. So over the last 3 months, I've set up a big program of what we call virtual work integrated learning, or virtual internships, virtual consultancy projects. So this year we're looking to have around 300 students doing virtual business consultancy. So I've previously taken students, I've organized around 15 programs a year where students go overseas and they work on 2-week business consultancy projects at partner universities. Sometimes they work for NGOs, sometimes they work for business organizations. They have to deliver a presentation and a report to the organization at the end of the 2 weeks. So we've moved this to a virtual format, and we've sourced partners, commercial partners and non-profit partners through our international networks, whether that's through our partner universities or through our international offices. So Deakin, we have offices in around 8 countries. We have an office in North America, South America, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, India, China, Sri Lanka. I think I've got it, and Pakistan. So we have staff in each country, and they've helped us source projects for our virtual program. So this year we're expecting to put around 300 students through our virtual consultancy program, where we work with overseas companies, and students will get into groups of 5 and do a consulting project. We're also looking to set up with Australian Chamber of Commerce what we call virtual internships. So we're running, at the moment, we're trialing 10 virtual internships at the end of this year, beginning of next year, where our students go on internships for between 6 and 12 weeks through Australian companies that are sourced from our Australian Chamber of Commerce networks. So we're trying virtual internships, virtual consultancy as a way of giving our students that virtual relationships. We're also looking, Professor Badri, we're also looking to get our partners involved going forward, and we're looking to develop these kind of virtual programs where our students and your students can get involved and work jointly on projects for credit. So we're looking to engage our international partners, whether it's on, having a class where a short 2-week class where you have 2 or 3 hours every day for 2 weeks, and students can work in groups with multicultural groups with students from our partner universities. So we're looking for intensive units over a 2-week period, or intensive consultancy project experiences with our partner universities. So we're trialing some of these. With our partner in the US, we're trialing a project with the UT Dallas, where it's a case competition and students work in teams, a team with half the members from the US, half from Australia, to solve a business project, a business challenge. So we're looking to engage our partners in these virtual experiences as well. And I think what we've learned from the crisis is what we can do jointly together. So we're now exploring with a number of our partners what we call hybrid models. That might be a joint degree which we deliver half online and our partners deliver half in country. So we're trying to explore that in India. In China, we're looking to deliver online to students, and they will have local partners also delivering an element of that. So we're looking for more what we call blended models of delivery or hybrid models where we work with our partners to deliver online content in country. So at the moment, we've got an MBA program in India that's delivered half by us, half by a local partner. And it's for working professionals in India who can't come to Australia, but who want an Australian MBA degree. So we're looking, and that's purely done online through a technology partner. So we're looking for like very interesting, innovative partnerships. We also have a lot on FutureLearn. We're one of the leading universities on FutureLearn, which is one of these open platforms like Coursera or EduCity, where we deliver MOOCs, but we also deliver full degrees on FutureLearn and graduate certificates. So we're exploring a lot of interesting, innovative things. And that focus has really intensified because of COVID. And we realize now we can't just keep on having international students come to Australia. We've got to also be prepared to deliver our programs online to the global community. So we're doing a lot of investment in digital and how we can work with our partners in different countries to deliver online content to students. So I think with the challenges that COVID has brought, it's also led universities to innovate. Nobody knew what Zoom was before the crisis. Now everybody's using Zoom. We have very interactive webinars. We often put students into breakout rooms where they can have more informal discussions. So using technology has been really great. So I think from the crisis, there's a lot we can learn about what we can do better and how we can use technology to actually deliver and improve student outcomes. So I think, you know, it's great. We've learned a lot during the crisis. It's been hard. You know, our budgets have been reduced, but we've realized that we can now do a lot of what we did without leaving the country. So the virtual exchange, we've had also students going on exchange to our partners virtually and doing a virtual program. We want to extend virtual exchange, virtual consultancy projects, virtual engagement with partners, and that's going to extend beyond COVID. So it's also great for the environment, you know, just getting on a plane and, you know, sending all our staff overseas to do webinars or to do workshops, or sending our students to do virtual physical projects, as it's not so great for the environment. So the virtual delivery is also cheaper and it's better for the environment. So we want this to be part of what we offer in the long term alongside the physical programs. So we want this innovation to really, you know, this COVID crisis to actually lead to some real positive results in what we do in terms of how we deliver our courses, how we engage with our partners. Yeah, so as I've just said, we really have this focus on global employability. So we're using internships, virtual and physical, globally. The business consulting I've just talked about. Once the crisis is over, we'll have a physical program where students go to the country, but we'll also have a virtual program. Many of our students work part-time or full-time, and they can't travel overseas. And a lot are from lower socioeconomic backgrounds, and they don't have the money to travel overseas. So the virtual programs are very useful for this group of students as well. And we're looking how to do more international study programs overseas, or perhaps a mixture of virtual and physical. So great innovation, great stories that we have. So that's the end of my presentation. It was just a quick overview. I'm not sure, was that exactly on time? Was that exactly 20 minutes? Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Professor Newman. It was almost 20 minutes, but it's really wonderful presentations. We really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for the insightful presentation, Professor Newman. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are joining us, welcome. You just missed the first presentations, but we still have like another 2 presentations today. Recorded versions of this webinar will be available on YouTube. And we also would like to hear from you. So post any questions that you have on the Q&A boxes, and we will address the questions after all the speakers has presented. Now, I would like to move on to our second speaker, Professor Badri Munir Sukocho. He is a professor in the Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Airlangga, and also the head of the Planning and Development Board. He is a member of the Board of Trustees and coordinator for the World-Class University Program of Universitas Airlangga. After receiving his doctoral degree from National Cheng Kung University, Taiwan on strategic management, he continued receiving awards throughout his career, namely visiting research fellow from SATU or Southeast and South Asia and Taiwan Universities, President Forum, prestigious alumni award from National Cheng Kung University, Taiwan, and also Tahir Professorship. We look forward to listening to your presentation, Prof. Badri. Prof. Badri will deliver his presentation on managing global partnerships in the era of COVID, translating strategies into action. The time is yours, Professor Badri. You're still muting, Professor Badri. Please unmute.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction, Dr. Dina, and it is an honor to be a speaker for this event. And also, I'm meeting again with Professor Newman. Last year, we have a meeting an event at AAOM in Bali, and also Professor Genta, and all of the participants for this event. Today, as mentioned by Dr. Dina, I would like to discuss about how to manage a global partnership in the era of COVID-19, how to translate strategies into actions. First of all, maybe I would like to discuss about global ranking, and then I will discuss about COVID-19 and global mobility. And I would like to emphasize on how to use the data that we already have based on credible data from CIFAL and Clarivate about the pattern of our collaboration and what's the next action for us. As we know that higher education has experienced pressure for accountability in the last 2 decades, and then global ranking become performative accountability to obtain world-class status. Many ranking institutions will give more credit when a focal university has extensive and productive collaborations globally. The primary objective is to increase global mobility as well as reduce inequality for the better world to obtain sustainable development goals in 2030. As we can see that 3 major world university ranking, QS, Times Higher Education, and also academic ranking world university from Shanghai emphasize more on internationalization. However, as we know that last night I tried to capture the recent condition of COVID-19. There are 25 million already confirmed cases with 852,000 deaths. And of course, United States is the leading one, and then Southeast Asia, India, and other countries, as well as Indonesia, got impact on it. And based on this pandemic, the economists, as well as Time and other leading magazines, discuss about it is the end of globalization because each country try to close their border in order to protect their nations. And according to IATA, they say that half of 2020 passenger revenues at risk. It means that 55% decline of international mobility. And then when we take a look on US institution itself, they enrolled around 19.7 million students, and then 519,000 international students will coming to United States and already stay, and 51% of American students also going abroad. Around 175,000 students from America going abroad to study and then get some academic credit. This is the survey, the latest survey from Institute of International Education, that 96% cancel on-campus events, 91% close campus. Even my partner in MIT, Sloan, they say that we close our campus. And also 77% cancel domestic travel, as well as 54% close dormitories. And then around 18,000 students left United States due to COVID-19. And this is the result that 78% they have distance education, online class, or independent study, deferment to fall 2020 or beyond 2021, maybe leave absence for summer 2020 is also deferment, and refund 4%. What about Australia? Australia, as mentioned by ISEF Monitor, that international education exports grew by 20% in 2017, and the third highest export country in the Australia, and is #1 service export for Australia after mining and steel. And then this is the news from University World News that 50% drop in foreign student, and also because highly dependent on Chinese student, around 60,000 students from China going abroad, and it will be difficult for Australia that already highly dependent on Chinese students. And of course, this internationalization and also the challenge about COVID-19 does not dismiss the Indonesian higher education institutions to engage in multiple and simultaneous strategic lines portfolio. I will not discuss about this issue, but however, mostly engagement letters, MOU, remain no more than announced partnership with minor implication, and the performance itself mostly under expectations. And because of what? Because of alliance often too stable after both parties sign the agreement. And then COVID-19, of course, is worsening the too stable alliance that already exists. So how to optimize global partnership? Maybe I would like to discuss about the data related with ranking itself, because this is the global standard. And then I would like to emphasize on research, and also as we can see that research quality comprised of 60% if we refer to US World University Ranking, while in times higher education just announced last night is around 60%, while ARWU academic ranking World University comprise around 70%. This is the condition from ranking, our ranking. OU is Osaka University, Gajah Mada, and then Deakin, and then UI and IDB and Airlangga. Osaka University is number 72, and then Deakin is 275. As we can see that Osaka University has higher academic reputation and employer reputation, as well as faculty student ratio, while Deakin is really great in citation per faculty, international faculty, and international student. It means that in terms of internationalization, Deakin is leading among us, while Osaka University in terms of reputation as well as faculty student ratio. This is my simple calculation based on the data that I get from online. As we can see that faculty student ratio, Osaka is really high. It's one professor with 7.22 students, with total student is 22,000. While Deakin has 42,000 students with proportion is one professor 23. Airlangga is better on that issue. While in terms of citation per faculty, as we can see that Deakin beat Osaka University. Deakin is 111 times, while Osaka is 86. Airlangga is only 3 times. In terms of international faculty, there are 41%, 74% of international faculty in Deakin. While international students, of course, as I mentioned it before, that Australia emphasized on internationalization, and it comprised around 28.66% of students in Deakin University with international status. Undergraduate 44%, while postgraduate 56%. And then when I emphasize on research collaboration, as we can see that by having international collaboration, actually it will increase citations per publication as well as weighted citation impact. As we can see that in Japan, in general, 28.2% of research are done by internationally with their global partners. And as a result, citation per publication is quite high, 12.3, compared to only national collaboration, for example, like Osaka with Tokyo, Kyoto, only 5.6, while only institutional collaboration within Osaka is 2.3, while single authorship has less citations. In terms of academic corporate collaboration, it's also quite high, quite similar with international collaborations. When I going through each subject, for example, like life sciences and medicine, the trend is quite similar, that international collaboration, research international collaboration result with higher citations. With corporate collaboration is also the same, even higher, because there is citation for patent and etc. and copyrights, of course. For social sciences, the trend is quite the same. Citation per publication is 8.7, while academic corporate collaboration is 9 times. However, as we can see that the trend for international collaboration in terms of research mostly are 1/4 of Japanese research outcome. For Australia, as we can see that international collaboration is half of it. And then, of course, citation is quite higher compared to Japanese research contribution, while academic and corporate collaboration remain small, similar like Japan, but with citation per publication is 29.1%. While life sciences and medicine, as you can see, the half of Australian research coming from global collaboration, with 52.4%, with citation per publication is quite high, 15.9, while academic and corporate collaboration is 37.4 times in terms of citation, while only 3.2% with academic corporate collaboration. In terms of social sciences and management, again, international collaboration quite dominant in Australia. It's around 39.7%, with citations per publication is 9.9. Academic corporate collaboration is 13.6 times. What about Indonesia? As we can see that even though we already signed our MOU, maybe, I don't know, maybe every month or every week, as we can see that the way we execute our global partnership less in reality, only 19.8%, with citation per publication is quite high compared to only national collaboration or only within institutional as well as single authorship. While academic and corporate collaboration is quite low, it's only 0.7%. As we remember that Australia is 3.0%, while Japan is higher. But when Indonesian scholars try to do corporate collaboration, the citation is 15.1%. As we can see that in life sciences and medicine, on average is higher compared to national average. 31% publication in life sciences and medicine use global research collaborations, while academic and corporate collaboration is higher also compared to national average, 1.3%. As we can see that in terms of social sciences and medicine management, only 21.5%, with citation per publication is quite high, with academic and corporate collaboration also citation per publication is high. As I mentioned before, that citations, as we can see that it will reflect our quality of research as well as the biggest contributor in terms of ranking. So I think this is a good avenue. As we can see that this is the research collaboration for Osaka for the map. And then I try to trace that Osaka, the highest collaborator for Osaka is CNRS, maybe from France, and then Harvard University, Chinese Academy of Sciences, and etc. What about Airlangga? Airlangga is number maybe 400 something from Osaka with 13 publications, co-authored with 18 Osaka scholars. In terms of life science and medicine is 6 publications, while social science and medicine is 0 publication. What about this is the name that I consider this is a Japanese name, and as we can see that there are many collaborators from Osaka with Airlangga. What about Deacon? Deacon, as we can see that the dominant is coming from Europe and also Australia. This is the data that I have. University of Auckland, 277, Chinese Academy of Sciences again, and then Toronto, Harvard, France, London, and Oxford, and etc. Airlangga, only 2 publications, co-authored with 3 Deacon scholars. Life sciences and medicine, 1 publication, and then social sciences and management, 1 publication. What about Airlangga? This is the map of Airlangga's collaboration from previous record. This is the collaborator for us, Malaya, Kobe, Baylor, OITA, UTM, Malaysia, and etc. The use of data that I presented just now, because the data is easy to collect, and then it's also easy for us to track the going on partnership, and then the reality after the signing of MOU. So my conclusion is like this. COVID-19, of course, it limits our global mobility, and physical collaboration is impossible right now until the vaccine of COVID-19 has been found and then spread around the world, distributed around the world. Evidence-based that I presented just now, evidence-based management by analyzing prior partnership through credible data such as from Scopus, Saifal, or Clarivate, enable higher education administrators to translate global partnership strategy into actions, because we can distinguish that, oh, this name has frequent collaboration with us. So maybe we can continue this collaboration. Maybe the first time is only research, maybe from publication or mentoring. It can be a starting point to re-engage digitally, because doing collaboration, it takes some trust and also time to understand each other. And then by using these individual people that we can investigate from our database, and then it will be a good starting point for us to re-engage digitally due to COVID-19, and then will be followed by other activities. For example, like staff or student exchange online, or maybe just now, Professor Newman discussed about virtual consultancy projects, double degree, and etc. And I think this is the thing that I would like to conclude, Dr. Dina. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Professor Badri and also Professor Newman. It is very interesting to learn from both of our previous speakers on how to manage global partnerships in the COVID-19 era. We learned from Professor Newman about the hybrid model established by the Deakin University, and from Professor Badri, we also understand about how research activities might increase the chance of conducting more partnerships. Let's hear from our next speakers from Osaka University to further explore the extent of collaborations in the era on and also post-COVID, and how to proliferate the quality of the partnerships that we currently have. Our next speaker is Dr. Kawahara Genta. Dr. Kawahara Genta received his PhD in engineering from Osaka University in 1994. He became an assistant professor in 1989 and later an associate professor in 1996 at the Faculty of Engineering at Ehime University. After staying at the Center for Turbulence Research, NASA in Stanford University for 1 year as a visiting scholar, he worked as an associate professor at Ehime University and Kyoto University. He was appointed as professor at Osaka University's Graduate School of Engineering Science in 2005 and became dean in 2013. Dr. Kawahara was appointed as Executive Vice President of Osaka University in 2017, and he also received many awards, including the Japan Society of Mechanical Engineers Frontier Award. Dr. Kawahara will deliver his presentation on global engagement towards a world-leading innovative university. Dr. Kawahara, the time is yours.
Thank you very much for very kind introduction. I'm going to share my slide. Let me see. Do you see my slide?
Yes. It's okay. You can see it. Thank you.
Good morning, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure for me to be here in this very interesting webinar organized by Airlangga University. I'm Genta Kawahara from Osaka University, and I'm in charge of global engagement. I really appreciate very kind introduction of me to this very interesting event. Thank you very much. And I'd like to take this opportunity to talk about the global engagement at Osaka University. And as already mentioned, Professor Newman and Professor Skoko, the same is true of in Japan. We has highly affected by the COVID-19 crisis. And this spring and summer semesters, all the courses are given in online, and university had been closed. But now we are reopening the university and the campus activity, and we are planning to provide face-to-face seminars coming fall and winter semester. And Indonesia is one of the most important partner countries for Japan and Osaka University as well. As you see, Osaka University received a number of the students from Indonesia. And this is the small statistics concerned with the number of receipt of the students from Indonesia in a well-known national university in Japan. And as you see, we have very many Indonesian students. And that is maybe one of the characteristics in Osaka University. And we received the Chinese student as usual, and Korean student, and the third is Indonesian students. And under inter-university and inter-faculty agreement, we have many students from Airlangga University as exchange students. And as you see, in last 5 years, we received 11 students. We are very happy to receive the students from Airlangga University. And this photo was taken in 2017 in the executive delegation from Airlangga University. And under these inter-university and inter-faculty agreements, we are promoting student exchange on one hand, and on the other hand, we would like to promote the research collaboration, especially concerned with medicine, tropical disease, and dentistry, and so on. And this is one example. In 2017, in Surabaya, Airlangga University and Osaka University held a joint international meeting. And this meeting is concerned with structural biology, biomolecular modeling, biomolecular dynamics with applications in biotechnology and medicine. And many researchers and students attended this event and to share the interesting idea and research outcomes and so on among the participants. And this kind of event has been held in the course of our collaboration with Airlangga University. As Professor Skoko mentioned before. And as I mentioned before, we also highly affected by the COVID-19 crisis. And we had closed all the face-to-face courses in spring and the summer semester. And the same is true for the exchange program, of course. I'm afraid we have not received the overseas student. But coming fall and winter semester, we would like to start receipt of exchange student from overseas. But for now, it is impossible. So we first start our program with the online courses. And we are starting 2 courses, you see. One is Osaka University Short-Term Student Exchange Program, what we call OSEP. This program is for the student who are in the 3rd or 4th year, and they already have their major. But at the same time, they are also interested in Japanese culture and Japanese. And we receive these students in Osaka University, and they are supposed to take the courses concerned with the Japanese and Japanese culture. And at the same time, they also take some special courses relevant to their majors. And the other is a MAPRO program. This program is for the students who are very interested in the Japanese and Japanese culture. For these students, we organize an extensive course concentrated on the Japanese and Japanese culture. And as I mentioned, if the thing will not be good, we provide this course just online. But if we see some improvement of the state, we would like to restart the receipt of the student from overseas physically. And how about 2021? We are now considering the more online program. Let me first explain the 2020 program. These 2 are ongoing programs which I mentioned just before. And in addition, these 2, we also consider some special program, Japanese courses for preparatory education. We receive the student to including another Japanese university. But at the first stage, we received all the students in Osaka University. We are in charge of the Japanese education. And then they go to another university. We would like to restart this program. And in addition to these 3, we also start a new program, Osaka University International Certificate Program. I will explain later this. And how about 2021? And 2021, we consider the situation that some students take face-to-face course and another student take the online course. So how should we manage this problem? So now we consider the new hybrid type lecture way, both face-to-face and online lectures. I will explain this. You see, this is a lecturer and she stand on in front of the blackboard. And we stick some special white sheet on the blackboard. And this works very well. So we can use the projector and we can light on the board. And we take this image by using the video camera. And at the same time, she has attendees here. And the student take face-to-face course. And at the same time, this pictures is sent to the overseas student. And they take the course from overseas. And this is what we call hybrid lecture. And by using this new type of lecture, we would like to launch online lectures between multilateral consortia. Maybe you are also discussing this kind of possibility with your colleagues, and in some other association, university association, share the courses in each university to make the joint international courses or something like that. And of course, this should be given online. And intensive short-term online programs. And next year, we will celebrate 90-year anniversary of the establishment in Osaka University. And at this special occasion, we are planning to organize the special exchange program for our partners. And if you are interested in, please join us in this some special program. And now I'm going to explain our direction of global engagement. As I mentioned, in 2021, we will celebrate 90th anniversary of the establishment. Towards this milestone, we open the university to society to promote, distinguish research and distinguish education together with society, a wide variety of actors in society, leading to innovation or creation of new knowledge, not only in natural science, but also in social science and humanities. And through such innovation, we would like to solve the local and global issues, including COVID-19 crisis, of course, and contribute to social development eventually. This is our direction. In this direction, we are now considering the new type of collaboration. That is what we call the co-creation. In a traditional, for example, university, industry, and university collaboration, this one, and our partner have the problem. I mean, they already identify their problem to be solved, but they don't know how to solve. Then our partners and university are tackling the problem to solve. And this is a traditional way. But now, progress in science and technology is too fast for us to predict the impact of that on the society and our life. In that sense, now we are in an unpredictable state. In such case, our much wider range of our partner, the stakeholder and actors in society do not know what is our problem. In that case, they and university together consider what is our problem. And eventually we identify our problem and then we tackle together the problem. And in this case, maybe the key is the collaboration from the stage of defining the issues and fundamental research. So in this case, we can work together with society at the beginning of the research on the fundamental base. And this is what we call the co-creation. And now we extend this idea. And this is just a few examples. In the field of immunology, we have the comprehensive partnership with Chugai and Otsuka from the fundamental research stages. They have the, we have a financial support for the management of the research group, not project, from the industry. And regarding the information technology field, we have the comprehensive partnership with Daikin Industry. This is a few examples for industry university co-creation, but we are also considering and promoting society and society university co-creation, and of course global co-creation. And next, I'm going to talk about global co-creation. And we would like to contribute to quality growth and the development of high-level global human resources for the next generation in ASEAN countries and Japan. And in this direction, the key ingredients are the co-creation, collaboration going beyond countries, fields, and sectors, and local-oriented education, on-site education based on local demands. Our research and education outcome completely meets local demands. And regional networking, collaborative programs between ASEAN countries and Japan, and socially oriented social contribution based on the long-term outlook of social implementation. Of course, this view includes the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And in this direction, we have already launched Osaka University ASEAN campuses. And in these campuses, we would like to promote research and education concerned with the local or ASEAN issues. For example, the communicable disease, biodiversity, and environmental issues, and so on. And now we launched 4 campuses, joint campuses. In Vietnam, we have joint campus in Vietnamese Academy of Science and Technology. And in Thailand, we have campuses in junction with Mahidol University. And in Brunei Darussalam, we have the campus in the University of Brunei Darussalam. And Indonesia, we have a campus in the Bandung Institute of Technology. This is our first steps. And now we would like to extend this activity to much wider areas. And by using these joint campuses, we are now considering the implementation of new program. That is, I mentioned at the beginning of my talk, the Osaka University International Certificate Program. And in this program, we use our joint campuses in ASEAN countries. And these programs are concerned with halal science and biotechnology, nanoscience and nanotechnology, and engineering science and computational material design, and so on. And this program provides the students with a 6 to 8 credit, and the period of the program is 10 months. And it will start from December 2020, this year. And as a first step, this is a pilot program. So we start with the student, graduate student from the joint campus partners and working people. But we would like to extend this program much wider soon. And in this program, students are supposed to take the online course from our joint campuses, and then they would come to Osaka University. I will explain the outline of this program. You see, in this case, 3 options up to the period of their visit in Japan. So they visit Japan in around 2 months. Here, 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 and up to the options. And the remaining period, they study the online course from joint campuses. In that case, in that sense, this pilot program has a constraint by the joint campuses. But we would like to deregulate this constraint, and maybe the student of our partner institution will take the courses online from everywhere. So we are extending this program, taking into account the knowledge in the first launching. And this is the outline of our global engagement to promote our collaboration in research and education, leading to solution to societal issues, including COVID-19 crisis between Indonesia and Japan. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kawahara, for the wonderful presentations. For those of you who are just joining us, welcome. We just listened to all the 3 speakers on how partnership should manage during the recorded versions of this webinar on YouTube. Now, I would like to address the first questions. It is addressed for Dr. Kawahara from Osaka University. The question coming from Ms. Ani Sesanti Yusman from Muhammadiyah University of West Sumatra, Padang. She raises a very important question, which I believe it should also be addressed to the other 2 speakers actually, on how to obtain more information for global research topics, titles, so all of us can soon join the research project. Because as we can see, the initiative's research collaboration seems to be one of the promising gateway to proliferate our partnerships, some that may not even affected by the pandemic. If not, it may as well give more opportunity with many students conduct many studies conducting in regards to COVID pandemic. So hopefully the three speakers can give us more insight on how each university encouraging research collaborations during this pandemic. Dr. Kawahara, maybe you can answer the question first.
I see. Thank you very much. Very important question. Maybe we would consider separately two possibilities. One is a strategic research project. Strategic research project. In such project, maybe university or the headquarters of university should commit the promotion of the research. And the other is, how can I say, the more flexible, the person-to-person research collaboration. And at the first possibility, the headquarters of university is in charge of the promotion. So for example, in Osaka University, we have the strategic partners for research collaboration, and we enhance the international joint laboratories in some specific fields, and they collaborate with each other. How can I say, it is a bottom-up process. And at the same time, we advise the financial support for the individual research project and the professors and the scientists in Osaka University, and they apply for the research project. And if their proposal will be taken, they promote their own research project with their partner. And we don't say anything about their partner. And they promote their research project. That is the outline of our university.
Thank you, Dr. Kawahara. And maybe Professor Badri will share your answer.
Thank you, Dr. Tina. About the question that related with the global research title, I think right now Indonesia provide many grants related with COVID-19, of course, especially from medicine and also engineering field, how to cope this pandemic problem. And also some research also dedicated to social and economics field, how to avoid economic recession in Indonesia, and then what kind of scheme that Indonesia can be applied, and also how to redevelop Indonesian economy after this or post-COVID-19. And in Airlangga, also the same. I think we provide some research projects. I'm not sure, maybe around 5 to 10 billion rupiah related with international collaboration and etc. related with COVID-19, particularly. And also we try to provide research project that we want to pursue for top tier journals, especially in medical field as well as other field. So many research project right now that we already offer to our researchers as well as our global research partners from around the globe, because by calling this proposal, we can offer real collaboration among our researchers as well. I think for other programs such as Amarta and etc., I think Dr. Diana Kawati will provide more and specific related with our Airlangga's program. I think that's my answer, Dr. Tina.
Thank you, Professor Badri. And we'd like to hear from Professor Newman, what your university has offered in terms of initiating research as part of the partnerships program.
Yeah, I was just looking at Anna's question. I don't know whether she is, in what position, is she a professor or is she a student looking to do a PhD? I had a quick look on LinkedIn and it seems that she was a student in Australia a long time ago, or maybe it's a person with the same name. So if you're looking to do a PhD program, that's probably the best way into research. So we do have PhD programs with a number of universities. You can also apply directly for a PhD program at our university across a number of fields. So if you're yet to have a PhD and you've done a master's and you're looking to get into a research project, go and have a look at the universities that have a background in the research that you're looking to do. Go and talk to a prospective supervisor, find out how to apply for the PhD program. There's a lot of opportunities to do a PhD in most universities across the world, but it's important to pick an area, a university that specializes in the area of research that you want to do. So that's one way. If you're a professor, established professor, I think you really need to work through your university. Normally, I would just approach people that I want to do research with. Obviously, they need to have the same background as me. So I don't think we can force research onto our researchers. So we try not to force and say, you're going to do research with this university. We try to encourage grassroots collaboration where there's a shared interest. But where we have universities that have a lot of research, very similar research, we try to develop strong partnerships where there's multiple researchers working with multiple researchers at the other university. And that's done, as Dr. Kawahara said, at the university level. That tends to be done at the university or faculty or school level. At the individual level, I would say go and email a professor that you admire, if it's to do a PhD program or if it's to do some joint research. But you've got to think about what you have to give to them. So it maybe you can help access funding in Indonesia. Maybe you have good access to business or to some other opportunities. So you've got to match your research interest with theirs. So that's my feedback. I think you can't, you've got to have some shared interest to actually engage in research.
Thank you, Professor Newman. Another question posed on the chat box is actually addressed to Universitas Airlangga, Professor Badri Moyosukojo. So the question is focusing on about the data that you presented about the international faculty and international students, and what we all eager to learn more is to how to boost this number, and of course, if there's an obstacles in enhancing international collaboration, in increasing the number of its international faculty and international students. Professor Badri, maybe you would like to explain on what Airlangga have done or will do in the future, and maybe later joined by Dr. Kawahara and also Professor Newman. Professor Badri? Still muting, Professor Badri. Yes.
Thank you for the question, Mas David from America. I'm sure right now is already midnight, right? About the initiative for Airlangga to boost, I think it's quite the same with Professor Newman and also Professor Genta in Osaka, that during this COVID-19, it is really difficult for us to deal with, especially how to internationalize and then increase our faculty and students from abroad. However, there are some opportunities that already offered by Professor Newman and also Professor Genta. We can do collaboration in terms of online class and also joint research without physical collaboration. I think is possible. For example, like maybe some countries have a good understanding on theoretical background, but the data, maybe Indonesia is quite interesting. By doing this collaborating and also complementary alliance within individual, the one that Professor Newman just now mentioned, it will be really good for us to in boosting our internationalization program. So basically, about international faculty engaging with individual level, and also for each university has a representative to engage with. For example, like Dr. Dina with her alma mater in United States, and then try to engage. I think this one it will be work, because based on my data, I think it's around 20 to 25% currently our lecturers already graduated from abroad or still studying in abroad, and these are our ambassadors. So we need to give them challenge to engage with their professor and etc. International student, yeah, we can do some exchange with Japanese students as well as Australian students. In terms of obstacles, right now, yes, of course, COVID is the biggest obstacle. The other one is maybe, as Professor Newman discussed it before, that we cannot push our professor to do a research with someone that we already collaborate because we signed an MOU. So this is the duty for our researcher to engage individually to develop trust. Maybe try to develop a social capital, cognitive, interactional, and structural capital. Yeah, we can do it by using MOU, but relational capital, developing trust, it takes time, and engaging through email and etc. It will be good. This is the biggest obstacle, I think, among our faculty in Airlangga, because we think that we are already enjoy and then in a comfort zone, especially during work from home, and then it seems that this is the biggest holiday ever, and then suddenly our performance become going down by engaging with our collaborator abroad through email, and by attending this kind of event, webinar, and etc., we can engage again with our potential partner. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Badri. And maybe Dr. Kawahara or Professor Newman would like to add something? You're still muting, Professor Newman.
Would you like to go first, Dr. Kawahara, or?
Maybe from you, Professor Newman, you can.
Okay, I'll go first then. Yeah, so I think, there's challenges for Indonesian institutions. There's obviously the financial challenge is the biggest challenge, and there's a lot of resource issues. Staff obviously have to teach quite a lot, and they don't always have the time to do research. So coming from a country where we have lots of money, predominantly funded by international students, life has been a bit easier. Things are more challenging this year, so we're able to really invest in research. So I would say to Indonesian institutions, really specialize in certain areas. You can't be good at everything, so really decide on what you're going to focus your money and attention on, and invest in those areas. So, for example, in the business area, you're very strong in finance, and that's because you have good access to financial databases in Indonesia, and you've been working on Islamic finance, on accounting issues. So you have a really good team there who does that work. So I think in each of your schools, you really need to have a couple of really strong areas that you focus on investing in, and not try and do everything. Because at the moment, I think in Southeast Asia, there's been a fixation on SSCI journals. And you've got a lot of different SSCI journals. Some are really bad, some are really good. But there's a whole mix, and the criteria that you use for promotion is to publish an SSCI journal. So that forces researchers to go for the easiest options. It doesn't really incentivize top quality research. So I think the university system and how it incentivizes research is very important. So I think, that's one issue. The second is really focusing on key areas and engaging in those key areas, So yeah, that's my recommendation, but it's very, very hard. We talk to partners in Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia. I think Malaysia's gone backwards a bit. Indonesia seems to be improving. So, but it's the struggle for every country in Southeast Asia due to, where to invest resources and how to incentivize researchers. And as we've seen in China, to a degree, incentivization, China's thrown so much money at research. The return on investment's not been huge, but again, they've overtaken the US now in terms of publications, but that's not led to citations necessarily. So how you invest your research, it needs to be very strategic, but it also, if you have incentive structure, it can get researchers to do the wrong thing. So you've got to be very careful with incentives. So again, it's tough, but I think the focus should be on specialization.
Thank you, Professor Newman. That's very important issues, actually. Dr. Kawahara, would you like to add something?
So, excuse me, it is a bit different from the scope which we are discussing now. But maybe Professor Newman mentioned in his talk, the same is true. Before COVID-19 crisis, I didn't know the Zoom. And now we use a Zoom that works well. We easily communicate our colleagues from overseas. So in my case, my student has a strong constraint. They should stick to Japan. But once we implement Zoom and to involve our student in discussion of me with my colleagues, they learn many things from Japan. So maybe if we consider positively, we have some, how can I say, alternative, not a complete alternative, but some different ways. That is one thing. And I'm very sorry, but it is local in Japan. And we Japanese are not good English speakers. So many Japanese people, students hesitate to go out. But now we could not go out. But we learn from Japan. And many students take the online course from Osaka. And once they lower their barrier, as a second step, they go beyond. So maybe we would see some of the good things triggered by the COVID-19 crisis experience. We would like to extend the possibility by learning the new new knowledge from the crisis. Thank you.
Thank you. It is really interesting to find out further, though, if you may share, all of you, about whether we should, in this during pandemic time, whether we should intensifying the partnership that we currently have, or we still put focus on extensifying. So it means like enlarging our partnerships with a new partner, for example. Maybe you want to share with us, Professor Newman?
Are you talking about academic partners here or industry partners?
Is it better to intensify what we already have with the current partnerships, or we could still though enlarge our partnerships with a new partner?
I guess that's, yeah, again, we've just, I think 3 or 4 years ago, we've started this new thing of slimming down our partnerships and having a fewer select partners. So we've already started doing that, and yeah, we don't really want to invest in too many new partnerships, but over time, you know, we bring in new researchers and we do have new partnerships, but we're looking to kind of intensify new partnerships. I guess when you're talking about industry partnerships, it's been a tough time with COVID. A lot of companies have removed discretionary investment. They're having to get rid of staff. So the industry engagement and getting research money into universities become slightly harder this year. So it's been really, really tough. The two main sources of income, one is international student income for us, and the other is, you know, industry income. Other than the government income we get, it's industry funding for research plus international students funding. Funds a lot of what we do at the university, discretionary activity. So I think trying to build new partnerships, industry partnerships is important, but it's a challenging time at the moment. But I think for us, it's been a time in terms of academic partnerships. We've gone to our partners and said, what can we do together using, you know, technology, joint online classes, intensive exchange, online exchange. And we've learned a lot of new ways of doing things. So And today is a great example. That was initiated by Airlangga. So I think, we can do more with less money. So I think how we utilize limited finances in a difficult time to actually do more is very important. But the biggest cost of university is staffing, and that'll always be a challenge. So we can't keep reducing staffing costs. Otherwise, you lose your human capital. So I guess it's a challenge, but we can do a lot with our industry partners virtually. We've actually seen people being more engaged if they're sitting at home. We've had more industry speakers than normal because they're looking for that interaction engagement. So yeah, it's a tough time, but I think we can learn from this experience.
Yeah, indeed, that's true, Professor Newman. How about Universitas Airlangga, Professor Badri? What do you think? Muting, you're still muting, Professor Badri. Yes, unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
I do agree with Professor Newman that we need to focus on our strength. And then right now, I think Indonesia, Airlangga in particular, maintain a lot of partners in terms of industries as well as university partners around the globe, without having focus on a certain area and also a certain university partners. It will be difficult for us to manage the partnership itself. One of a paper discussed about this one, balancing across domains. Professor Newman just now discussed about you need to exploit your current strength. But if Airlangga also want to pursue something new, you need to do and increase our collaboration with industry or maybe university partner that will complement our strength in order to pursue different avenue to explore something new there. So in that case, my point is that we need to balance finding new partners in order to explore something new, but at the same time, we need to exploit our partner's strength and also complement with our strength in order to create something better. That's the challenge for Airlangga as well as, of course, Airlangga Global Engagement, how to balancing this issue, I think. That's my answer.
Professor Badri. Thank you for the interesting points. Dr. Kawahara, what has Osaka done in terms of managing the partnerships? Is it focusing on intensifying what you already have, or you enlarge to the new partnerships?
So regarding the industry-university collaboration, as I mentioned before, we are very interested in the promotion of industry-university collaboration, of course. But as we discussed already, we underwent the COVID-19 crisis, so it is not easy for us to further enhance our collaboration. And concerning the academic partnerships, as I mentioned in my talk, we would like to use ASEAN campuses to extend our collaboration into much wider areas. And for example, by using our joint campuses, sometimes professors go to the joint campus from Osaka University, and I'm expecting the deregulation of our physical movement. And we take some courses for our partner university, not only to the joint campus partner, but also the student from much wider range of our partners. By using this scheme, so maybe we extend our education and research collaboration even in this tough situation.
Thank you, Dr. Kawahara. Since we're almost out of time, we're actually This will be the last questions. What would be the final piece of advice you would like to give to the audience from all the three speakers, especially on how higher institutions in Indonesia in particular, trying to enhance, enlarge, or improve its global partnerships? What are the key points from what we've discussed today? Dr. Kawahara, maybe you would like to share some final thoughts on advice for us?
Yeah, in that case, maybe if we consider the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, that is a kind of universal or global goals in the world. And once we consider the fostering the student towards this the contribution to such a common goals, maybe we easily consider the implementation of new research or educational collaboration. That is a key for our engagement, I think.
Thank you. Thank you. That is very important point, Dr. Kawahara. Professor Badri, would like to give your final thoughts?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Similar to Professor Kenta, that SDGs can be the, how do I say that, the issue that can unite us, how to solve the problem in 16 goals in SDGs, as well as the 17 is related with partnership, right? So by addressing these 16 goals, these 17 should be the main issue, how to increase the collaboration to deal with the 16 problems and goals, and in order to make the better world. So in my point of view, I think Airlangga as well as other higher education in Indonesia try to focus on these sustainable development goals, and each university has their own strength in terms of the 16 goals, and then there's just a focus on it. I still remember with the presentation of Professor Newman that Deakin Business School only has less than 20 partners around the world. I think this is the easiest way for Deakin try to focus and then try to increase the social capital within this collaboration. And I'm sure that by having these small groups, and then it will growing incrementally in the future. For example, like just now, Professor Newman discussed about Islamic economics and etc. This is our strength. Okay, which sustainable development goals that we can pursue with this issue, and hopefully these common themes, common goals will unite us. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Badri. Good points. Professor Newman, do you have?
Yeah, I think the interaction is important and research training. So I think, you know, developing good relationships with your partners, sending your, you know, top students over for research training, whether that be PhD programs, and then have them back as your staff and having that ongoing, because it's people-to-people relationships that matter. So placing your students and your partners, they do a PhD there, they come back and they, you know, carry on back in Indonesia. So I think the PhD training is very, very important. And I think we've had that. We've had, you know, students who did PhDs with our professor who are now working in Airlangga, and they're the ones who maintain that connection. And then again, yeah, great point about SDGs. Professor Badri, if we can talk offline, we have an SDGs virtual consulting program where our students consult the non-profits, and then we present a solution to them. So yeah, it'd be lovely to talk about SDGs. So I think around teaching and learning, we can really focus on SDGs. Around research, we can focus on SDGs as well. So we are aligning all our research activity to SDGs in the business school, and really making sure that we focus on issues that have social impact. So yes, that's great to hear that you're all focusing on that. So I think we can say we want to work together to solve this SDG. This can be done through student projects, supporting the NGO sector, so having social impact, but also in our research around typical themes. So we've grouped our research themes at the business school into 4 One is business and society. It's having a positive impact on society. One is business and technology. The third is capital markets, where we do a lot of research with you. And the fourth is small business and enterprise. So we look for research partners across these key themes, and obviously at the same time trying to address the SDGs that are aligned to each of the research themes. So partnerships, teaching and learning, and research around these key themes are really what we're looking to really focus on with our partners. So try and align yourself to what partners want, and I guess map your research activity and your teaching and learning to the SDG framework that you can easily sell to partners and say, this is what our focus is. Would you be interested in working together with us on this certain area or certain topic?
Thank you. Thank you for all the three speakers. I think from your presentations, we can all agree that crisis has impacted to all of us, not just one certain countries. And the essence of partnerships, that it is still important to maintain it. And we can all focus on how to find the solutions of this pandemic through SDGs with the same theme, with the same intentions. By applying and implementing the SDGs into our activities, it may as well open up more opportunities in collaborations, not just for research, but also for our students, and that will also impact on the industrial partnerships. Well, I would like to thank for all the speakers for your time today and for the insightful information and opinions on how we should manage partnerships in the COVID era. And I would also like to thank all the audience who participate today. We look forward to see you all for our next, thank you, Professor Newman, for our next webinar, the fourth one. It will be scheduled on September 8th. Please stay tuned on our social media platforms, and we will also email our partners for our next webinar. Thank you very much for everyone who joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kawahara. Thank you, Professor Newman. Prof. Badri, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope that we can still proposing another event in the future for you all. Right.
We might have an SDG event, Dina. SDGs and research. Yeah.
Yes, we actually have an SDGs programs. It is intact with our program. So we will email Dr. Kawahara and also Professor Newman about the programs that we have related with the SDGs.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm really looking forward to your information. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
May I end all of the meeting?
Thank you, Viro. Is it still live on YouTube, Viro?
Yeah.
I think we can end it. Thanks, Viro. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, bye.